Today we're starting a new series called Lost and Found. So to kick us off, I'm wondering, have you ever lost something? Maybe a favorite stuffed animal, an entire school project, or something you were about to say until it slipped your mind. There are tons of reasons why we lose things. Sometimes it's because we're careless. Sometimes we lose things because we get distracted. And sometimes we get lost because the thing we're trying to navigate, like a city or a tough math problem, are new or confusing. We all know how frustrating it is to lose something we love or need. But sometimes it's not just our phones or homework that get lost. Sometimes it's us. Have you ever gotten lost? If you did, how did you feel? It might be kind of fun to think about those stories now, but if you're honest with yourself, it probably wasn't very fun in the moment. It can be pretty scary to get lost. If your lost stuffed animal or phone had feelings, it would probably feel the same. Whether you wander away from your parents, take a wrong turn, or lose track of your friends in a crowd, it can be scary to realize you're not sure where you are, who to ask for help, or how to get home again. For the next few weeks, we're going to talk a lot about lost things and how they get found. But this won't be a tutorial on how to find lost stuffed animals. We'll talk about the ways we can get lost, how we can help others when they're getting lost, and how we can all get found again. Now, my junior year of college, I felt completely lost. I had just broken up with my girlfriend of 2 years. I changed my major to what I should have done from the beginning, but I had tried a different path to make that girlfriend happy. I moved into a single room at the dorms, and I spent most nights alone. Now, when I left for college a couple of years earlier, I also left my home church. Finding a new one in a new city with no friends who already had a church is really hard, and I never really found one. I tried going to one of the campus ministries, but I didn't have a great experience the first time, so I never went back. So I didn't even have a church family to lean on. The college dating scene was never really for me either. I felt alone all the time. I spent most nights in my room watching TV and playing video games, and this was before you could play those games with people online. I often went to bed either in tears or at the edge of them, angry with God. When it comes to your faith, there are a lot of reasons why you might feel lost sometimes. See, you and I were created to be close to the God who made and loves us. But some of us don't know our Creator yet. Some of us know Jesus, but we wander far away from Him by making unwise decisions or turning our backs on Him. Some of us know Jesus, but we're struggling with what we believe, with a difficult situation we're in, or maybe even with our mental health. In all of these situations, we can feel pretty lost sometimes. Now, if you drive, walk, or bike, you've probably used an app like this. These apps keep us from getting lost by telling us exactly what to do and when, helping us avoid roadblocks, helping us avoid danger, letting us know exactly how long it'll take to get us to our destination, and automatically reroute us when we take a wrong turn. Wouldn't it be nice to have an app that did this for our whole lives? Something that tells us exactly which decisions to make and when, help us avoid setbacks, give us a heads up when we're heading toward danger, letting us take a sneak peek into the future so we don't have to wonder what's going to happen next, or automatically tell us what to do when we've made a bad decision. And wouldn't it be nice if an app told us how to do that with our faith too? Because let's be honest, sometimes it's confusing. Sometimes you feel as though you're wandering away from God, but you're not sure how or why. Maybe it seems like yesterday you had an awesome relationship with God, but today you feel lost and far away. Other times you might even feel like you've wandered away from your faith and no one notices but you, not even God. If you feel far from God for whatever reason, you might find yourself wondering, who screwed up here? Did I fail God or did God fail me? And what do I do from here? For the next 4 weeks, we're going to be looking at one chapter of the Bible. Just one. This chapter recounts a series of stories Jesus once told about things that were lost and then found. Each story communicates a different and important truth. These stories aren't historical stories. They're parables, stories Jesus made up and told in order to teach an important truth. Let's look at Luke chapter 15. All the tax collectors and sinners were approaching to listen to him, and the Pharisees and scribes were complaining, "This man welcomes sinners and eats with them." So who are the Pharisees and why are they so mad? The Pharisees of Jesus' day were religious leaders who were super focused on following God's rules, the hundreds of laws contained in Jewish scripture. These laws were important and weren't inherently bad. In fact, they were given by God to help God's people stay healthy, safe, and close to Him. These laws helped people not to get lost. But in Jesus' opinion, the Pharisees had taken things too far. Because they wanted to follow every law exactly, they became arrogant, self-righteous, and dismissive of people who they believed were sinful. The Pharisees were so obsessed with following God's laws that they missed God's heart. Jesus was often angry with the Pharisees for their lack of love, mercy, and compassion for others. To the Pharisees, Jesus was always breaking God's rules because he would do things like heal people on the Sabbath day of rest or share meals with people who the Pharisees called sinners. Instead of dismissing the Pharisees for being jerks, Jesus takes the time to tell them 3 stories to help them think differently. The first one is about missing sheep. Now, before we read this story, take a look at what some of the scenery looked like in Israel. When you see the Judean desert, you get a better understanding of how a sheep might go missing and how difficult it might be to find it again. So he told them this parable. What man among you who has 100 sheep and loses one of them does not leave the 99 in the open field and go after the lost one until he finds it? When he has found it, he joyfully puts it on his shoulders, and coming home, he calls his friends and neighbors together, saying to them, "Rejoice with me, because I have found my lost sheep." I tell you, in the same way, there will be more joy in heaven over one sinner who repents than over 99 righteous people who don't need repentance. We don't know how the sheep wandered away from its shepherd. Maybe it got distracted or confused. Maybe it saw another sheep walk that way, so it followed along. Maybe it was trying to run away. Either way, the sheep found itself far from the safety of its shepherd. Imagine how difficult it would be to find one lost sheep in that huge desert, filled with valleys and steep cliffs. It would take time, effort, and a lot of attention. If I were the shepherd, I'm not sure I'd be willing to put in the effort. But here's what the shepherd in Jesus' story did. Even though he had 100 sheep to take care of, he noticed when one of them was missing. I imagine he even knew that sheep's name. Even though he knew it would be difficult, he searched for his lost sheep until he found it. He never gave up. And when he found his lost sheep, Jesus didn't say the shepherd yelled at it, made fun of it, or punished it. The shepherd lovingly carried it home. So what does this parable mean? Who is the shepherd? Who's the sheep? Let's see what Isaiah had to say. We all went astray like sheep. We all have turned to our own way, and the Lord has punished him for the iniquity of us all. If you and I are that wandering sheep, Jesus says that God is like that good shepherd, and Jesus is God. Because when you feel lost, Jesus notices you. Remember how alone I felt at college? Well, fortunately, Jesus came after me. I was eventually able to find another campus ministry that I didn't even know existed. They welcomed me with open arms, and I even began playing guitar for them, and that was my first experience leading worship. Through that ministry, I was able to find a great church and got more and more involved with things that I loved. I started making friends in my degree program and even found the woman who ended up becoming my wife. Sure, my career path may have taken some odd twists and turns since then, but not one of them surprised God. Sometimes we're all like the sheep in Jesus' story, wandering away from the safety of God, our shepherd. Maybe we wander from God because we don't know Jesus is our good shepherd in the first place. Maybe you're out in the desert wandering, and this is the first time you're realizing Jesus has been calling you to come and be found by him. We get distracted. Maybe you intended to stay close to Jesus, but there were so many other interesting things to do that you kind of forgot he existed. Maybe you're looking up right now and wondering, how long have I been wandering for? We get confused. It's okay to have questions and uncertainties about following Jesus, and those questions turn into confusion that leads us away from our shepherd. But our questions don't need to lead us away from him. In fact, our questions can bring us closer when we bring them to God. And we walk away. Sometimes we walk away from our shepherd on purpose. Maybe you've turned your back on God in the past because following Jesus was too difficult, or you were no longer interested, or you were hurt and blamed God for it. Just like sheep are sheep, you and I are human. God knows we're prone to getting lost. That's why Jesus describes the Good Shepherd the way he does. Even though God has created hundreds of billions of people, God knows each and every one of us by name. When you go missing, God notices. You are not insignificant to your shepherd. Even though convincing us to come back to God is difficult, Jesus never stops searching for us. He never gave up on you, and he never will. When you and I finally realize we're lost sheep and need help, God doesn't yell at us, make fun of us, or punish us. When you need help, God celebrates, and Jesus will always lovingly carry you home. Just like the shepherd in the parable notices his missing sheep, Jesus notices you. Yes, you. You who are sitting there watching, thinking about how far you've wandered and wondering how you are going to find your way back. Jesus notices you. You who feel like no one in the world notices you. Jesus notices you. You who are still trying to decide what you think about God. Jesus notices you. Here are my hopes for you today. If you're not sure what you think about Jesus, but you're willing to give him a chance, I hope you'll finish this video today knowing that your good shepherd loves you and is so excited to welcome you. If you feel lost right now, I hope you finish this video today knowing that Jesus is actively searching for you. Let him know you're ready to be found. If you feel unseen, like no one notices or cares about you, I hope you finish this video today knowing that Jesus sees you. When you feel lost, Jesus notices